Hi everybody! So today we're talking about the basic triads. So there are 4 basic triads that we're talking about. Major, minor, augmented, and diminished. So first off, we're going to talk about the word triad. Triad's prefix is tri, which means 3. In a triad, you have 3 notes. In our triads, they're all going to have a root, a third, and a fifth. These are functional names of different notes that we're going to have in our triads. So, the way to do these, each one of these different triads has a formula. So I'm going to show you. So to make it easier for you, I'm going to have R, which means root, 3, which is a third, and 5, which is your fifth. For your major triad, the distance from the root to the third is a major third. Remember, when you're writing out intervals, capital M means major, 3 means third, major third. The distance from the root to the fifth in a major triad is perfect. For perfect, the P needs to be capitalized, and the 5 for the fifth, perfect fifth. When you have these 2 distances put together, you have a major triad. For a minor triad, you still have a root, a third, and a fifth. The third is now minor. Notice how the M is small, lowercase m means minor. 3 still means third. Minor, third. The distance from the root to the fifth is perfect. For a minor triad, you have a minor third and a perfect fifth. For an augmented triad, you still have a root, third, and a fifth. The root to third is major. The root to fifth is augmented. The A is capitalized for augmented fifth. For a diminished triad, there is a minor third. Again, the lowercase m means minor. Root to fifth is diminished. This is a page that I would probably take notes on, because this will help you with your homework. Having this formula will help you understand all of the different triads that we're working on. So some things to help you. The major triad gets its name from the quality of the third. Major third, major triad. The name minor triad comes from the quality of its third, minor third. The augmented triad gets its name from the quality of the fifth, augmented fifth. The diminished triad gets its name from the quality of the fifth as well, diminished fifth. There's another way to think about this, and I'll put it in a different color. The interval from root to third in a major triad is major. The distance from the third, that's the same color. I'm going to try green. Why not? The distance from the third to the fifth is a minor third. So there are 2 ways to think about building triads. You can either think root to third, root to fifth, which would be major third, perfect fifth, or stacking two thirds on top of each other. Major third, minor third makes a major triad. I don't particularly like this way, just because when it gets over here, it doesn't tell me anything about the quality of the triad itself for the fifth, but this is another way to build your triads. In a minor triad, you have a minor third from root to third, and a major third from third to fifth. In the augmented triad, you have major third and an augmented fifth, or you have a major third and another major third. For the diminished triad, you can think minor third, diminished fifth, or you can think two minor thirds. Two different ways to think about your formulas for your triads. So we're going to do some examples, because these are all hypotheticals and variables. So let's do a major scale, or a major triad. Let's say I wanted a D major triad. Let's say this is what I wanted to build. Step 1, identify the keynote. The keynote is D. Step 2, build the D major scale. There we go. The next step for this would be to identify scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. If you built your scale correctly, you're done. This is the D major triad, because all of your major triads are built on a major third and a perfect fifth. The diatonic intervals within the scale are already perfect unison, major third, perfect fifth. You don't have to change any of these notes. Plug and chug. There's your D major scale, and your D major triad right there. Let's say we wanted a D minor triad. Same process. Identify the keynote, D. Build the keynote's major scale. Always work from the major scale. Identify scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, 5. But we know for a minor triad, the distance from root to third should be a minor third. Since we know that this is already a major third, if I want to go make this major third a minor third, I have to lower the note by 1/2 step. F sharp down a half step is F natural, which gives us our minor third. In a minor triad, we still want a perfect fifth. In the scale, it's still diatonically a perfect fifth. Done. You don't have to change the fifth. Let's look at an augmented triad. We've identified the keynote already. We've already built our major scale. We're going to still pull scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. But for a diminished triad, I think we're doing diminished. I don't remember. We're going to go with it. For a diminished triad, we want a minor third from root to third. We also want a diminished fifth from root to fifth. Since we know our diatonic intervals are already perfect, major third, and perfect fifth, this fits. You're good with the root. The third is not correct yet. The fifth is not correct yet. So let's work on the third. We want it to be minor. It is major right now. To get it to minor, we lower it a half step. F sharp down a half step is F natural. Right now, our fifth is perfect. We want it to be diminished. Diminished is one step down from perfect. So we take A and lower it a half step. A natural down a half step is A flat. This is our D diminished triad. Last one, augmented. We've identified our keynote. We've built our major scale. We're pulling scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. For an augmented triad, we want a major third, from root to third. In the scale, the third is already major. We don't have to change anything here. For an augmented triad, we want an augmented fifth from root to fifth. Right now we have a perfect fifth. We want to go higher by one half step. So we take A natural and go up a half step, making it A sharp. This is how you build all of these triads. Just a reminder for you, if you're wondering how you get from major and minor and diminished and perfect, this comes from the chromatic video where we built that 8-pack. If you have a major interval that's diatonic major, going up a half step makes it augmented. If you have a major interval and lower it by a half step, you get minor. If you lower that another half step, you get diminished. On the other side, if you have a perfect interval and raise it a half step, it goes to augmented. If you take a perfect interval and lower it a half step, you get diminished. If you lower it another half step, you get double diminished. So when I was moving all of those intervals up and down, I was just using this chart. So make sure you have this handy. Band folks, for your homework, you are going to be identifying different triads. So let me show you what I mean. For your homework, they will give you a triad. You have to determine if this is major, minor, augmented, or diminished. Let me walk you through it. For now, everything is going to be in root position, which means that the bottom note will always be the root, if it is in root position. For this week, everything will be in root position. Step 1. Identify the notes. These are our 3 notes, E, G, B. Make sure you double check your clef. Step 2, identify the key note. This week, the key note is the bottom note, E. That is our root. Step 3, build the root's major scale. Here's where you can identify all of the intervals. You don't need to go through all the diatonic intervals. We're only looking for 1, 3, and 5. Now, look at the notes in your scale and see if any of them match. E and E match. G sharp and G do not match. B and B matches. So right now, you have a perfect fifth from E to B. There are only two qualities that have a perfect fifth. So this is either a major triad or a minor triad. Now we have to find the distance from E to G. That will tell us the quality of the entire triad. G sharp would make it major, but we have G natural. G natural is a half step lower than G sharp. So going back to our 8-pack, this is what's in the scale, or diatonic. This is what we actually have in the problem, which makes it minor. E to G is a minor third. Look back at your notes. What kind of triad has a minor third and a perfect fifth? If you said a minor triad, you're correct. The answer is minor triad. The shortcut to this, if you identify the distance from the root to the third and the root to the fifth, you can figure out what quality the triad is, instead of having to build a major scale. If you don't know your intervals, your chromatic intervals, you may need to build your major scale and add this step in and use your 8-pack. So I'll give you another example and give you a couple minutes to work through it. I'll give you 2 minutes to identify what kind of triad this is. I'll even finish your 8-pack for you. First step, remember, we're identifying the notes. I'm letting you get a little bit ahead of me just so you can double check your work. Those are the notes I came up with. I'm right, just so you know. Next, I'm identifying the keynote. Remember, all of these are in root position, so our root is the lowest note, F. So I'm going to build that major scale. One, three, five. F to A is a major third. F to C. Give you a couple more seconds to get ahead of me. Time's up, kids. You should have gotten a major third and an augmented fifth. Those two intervals together make an augmented triad. And the root of this chord is F. So your answer is F, augmented. I'll show you how to write the different qualities soon, but not yet. Choir. Your assignment will be slightly different. You will be building these different triads. So instead of being shown what a triad is and you identify what quality it is, you will actually have to build the notes. So they will give you G minor. Here we go. You don't need to identify any notes. There are no notes drawn for you. Your first step is identifying the keynote. Your keynote is G. Step 2, build that major scale. Label your diatonic intervals. And for those of you, yes, you are correct. You do not need to draw all of them out to 8. This is just for demonstration purposes. You probably would stop at 5, just because you're not doing any 7ths yet. You only need the root third and the 5th. Here we go. So for G minor, you need a root, a third, and a 5th. The distance from root to third in a minor triad is minor. Root to 5th should be perfect 5th. These are already a perfect 5th. You don't have to change this. Your root is already labeled. So let's substitute those now. This is where I got the root. Your 5th is already perfect, so you just plug it there. Here's where you have to change something. You want a minor third. You have a major third. You are here. You want to go here. You went down 1 box, which means this needs to go down 1/2 step. Done. G, B flat, and D gives you a G minor triad. Let me give you one to work on your own. Build me an A flat augmented triad. I'll give you 2 minutes. And I'll give you a head start. Did you hear that joke about Beethoven? He didn't either. Here we go. Hopefully, you've already identified the keynote. It's the only note they gave you. Now you should be building that keynote's major scale. Label your diatonic intervals. I'm getting lazy. I really only need up to 5th, so I'm not going to label all of them. For an augmented triad, I know that I need a major third. It's already done. I also know that I need a augmented fifth. There you go. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask me on Remind or show up to one of my office hours. Text me. Make sure you ask questions. Just in case they ask you a certain way, I'll show you the written descriptions of what these triads look like. Because the lazy monks didn't want to write out the word augmented, they had symbols. It makes things a whole lot easier. Let's use C sharp as an example. If I wanted C sharp major, the shorthand symbol would be C sharp. Done. Make sure it's capitalized. If I wanted C sharp minor, done. Lowercase. The monks were really smart. C sharp augmented becomes capital C sharp plus. And C sharp diminished lowercase C sharp with a circle. Lazy monks had it right. Work smart, not hard. So let me just give you a couple, just to make sure you understand. Take a second and figure out what these triads are. Probably could have used the timer. It was very conveniently right here. But choices were made. I'm going to stick with it. Here we go. The first one is capitalized with a plus, which means that it is B flat augmented. The second one is just a letter, lowercase, which means that's G minor. The second one is third one, I can count, promise. The third one is a capital letter by itself. This is D major. And the last one is lowercase with a circle, E flat diminished. Hopefully this helps you with your homework. Good luck!